Hello, welcome back to Pages for All Ages. I'm Leah Godwin from Fitzgerald Elementary.
And I'm Nitsa Campos from Pope Elementary.
We have some really great books for you today.
We do.
We're very excited.
I have a lot of books. I have an extra 8 set aside, and I narrowed it down to these 7.
I have a stack at home that's ready to go, but I didn't bring them all today.
Too much reading being done.
But not too many books. No. That's not a thing.
No. Well, I will start first.
Okay.
My first book is The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane by Julia Nobel. It is a middle grade mystery for about 4th grade through 7th grade, and it's book 1 in a series. In this book, Amie lives with her mother, a parenting expert who is venturing into reality TV shows. As her mother is too busy with her new gig, she sends Amie to a prestigious boarding school in England, Wellsworth. She starts making new friends and soon learns that her father, who disappeared when she was only 3, also attended Wellsworth. And as she tries to learn more about her father, she discovers a secret society that may have had something to do with his disappearance. I loved this book. I was super sad when I got to the end, and now I have to wait until March 2020 for book 2. I give this 5 out of 5 stars. It was a fantastic mystery. It had me going from the moment I picked it up. You feel really bad for Amie because her mom is his parenting expert, but she has no time for her daughter.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and doesn't listen to her or anything. And now she's going to do this reality shows where she goes into people's homes and helps them be a parent.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, but she finds this box of stuff with her dad's stuff and finds this secret society. It was really, really good. I couldn't put it down.
It sounds very
really
intriguing.
Loved it.
My first book is Ice Wolves by Amie Kaufman. It's a middle grade series. It is the Elemental series, and this is book 1. Anders and Raina, 12-year-old orphans, live in the coastal city of Hobart. They survive by living atop an inn under the rooftop and often must pick pockets to get daily nourishment, although many days they go hungry. During a routine pickpocket run, they are almost caught, but they pretend that they are participants in the trial of the staff, which is a ceremony to determine if a young person is an ice wolf and will take that form. Surprisingly, Raina shifts into a Scorch Dragon and Anders shifts into an ice wolf. How is this possible if they are twins? Raina is later taken away by other dragons, and Anders must become part of the Ulfor Academy to learn about the ice wolf so he can save his twin sister Raina. The whole premise of this is usually if you are in the same family, you will all either turn into ice wolves or you will all turn into Scorch Dragons. But that didn't happen with this family.
And they're enemies.
And Scorch Dragons and ice wolves are enemies. And it's his twin sister. So Ice Wolves, the first book in the Elemental series, I couldn't put it down. And it says on the front, will keep you reading late into the night. Yes, yes it will. And isn't the cover beautiful? I love the cover with its foil kind of look.
Oh, it is pretty.
And on the spine is the number 1 with a wolf paw print.
When is book 2
Very
come out?
Interesting. Book 2 I have today with me.
Sorry.
So I will be talking about book 2 in just a moment.
Spoiler. Sorry about that. All right. My book 2 is Rebound by Kwame Alexander. This is a middle grade sports book for grades 6 through 9. It is a bluebonnet book for the 2019-2020 school year. It is a book written in verse. It is a follow-up, or it's actually more of a prequel, to his Newbery winner crossover. This book focuses on Charlie Bell, who was the father of the twins in his previous book, Crossover. In Rebound, Charlie's father has passed away from a heart attack. He's starting to get into trouble and is sent to his paternal grandparents for the summer. He is forced to spend time with his cousin Roxy, who is the star basketball player. Getting better at his game, spending time with his no-nonsense grandfather, and learning about his father helps Charlie begin to deal with his grief and reconnect with his brother. Rebound has comics sprinkled throughout that demonstrates Charlie's basketball fantasies. I want to show you just a couple of them because this is different from his book, Crossover. And I just loved the illustrations that they had right there. Can you see that right there? Really, really great. And there's some more. And one thing about Kwame Alexander that I love when he writes is when he does his poetry in verse, what he does with his letterings, he slants them, he swirls them, he makes them big, he does them in different fonts. His writing is just fantastic. And this is another fantastic novel written in verse, and it just flows. It's almost like you can hear music in your head while you're reading it. I love to share this with students to show that poetry isn't scary. Poetry doesn't have to rhyme. You know, you can read it and understand it the first time you go through it. And it's about basketball. So this can get those hands, especially in the hands of boys who maybe aren't too keen on reading. Hand this to them. They're going to love it. Fantastic read.
And you asked about the second book, Scorch Dragons by Amie Kaufman. This is book 2 in the Elemental series, and it is a middle grade book. Anders, along with his friend Elizabeth from Ulfar Academy, learn about the history of Scorch Dragons and Ice Wolves working together to forge magical artifacts. They borrow an artifact that helps them find the Scorch Dragons in their lair in Drekhelm. After finding Raina, they realized she really did not need rescuing at all, for she had found her place among her kind. Through the use of the runes on the artifacts, Raina and Anders learn that they are indeed twins, and they are in fact the children of the famous dragonsmith Driffa, who made many artifacts along with her ice wolf husband Felix. They learned that they must stop the ice wolves from using the snowstone to make all the world cold, thus destroying the Scorch Dragons. Will they find the Sun Scepter in time to raise the temperature? Will the Ice Wolves and the Scorch Dragons ever work together again? I wanted to talk about the covers another time. I showed you that this cover has the paw print with the number 1. This has a flame with the number 2. I am so hoping that there is a third book. These were really very interesting, unputdownable. I liked the conflict between the 2 different factions, the Scorch Dragons and the Wolves, and how they could shapeshift from their human form into the animals that they become. I'm ready to see how it all plays out, and I just really need the third book and maybe a 4th book too.
Did it leave you hanging where you're kind of like, okay, there has to be a book 3 coming out?
There has to be another book. I just wasn't satisfied with where I left them all, and I was sad to leave them, so I need them back.
Okay, all right, I like that. All right, my third book. Look what I got here. Have you seen this?
Mercy Watson.
A Piglet Named Mercy by Kate DiCamillo with the illustrations by Chris Van Dusen. This is a picture book. Mercy Watson is a beloved early chapter book series. This picture book tells us how it all began. It's an origin story. Life is feeling a bit too predictable for Mrs. Watson when a tiny piglet falls off the back of a truck. Of course, we are introduced to the sour neighbor, Eugenia Lincoln, but her sweet sister, Baby Lincoln, loves a piglet and gives Mercy her name. So Mercy, if you do not know of the Mercy Watson early chapter book series, it is an adorable, adorable series, and this is a great way to introduce students to this much-loved series. The illustrations of this book are bright and sweet, but be sure to read it with toast and lots of butter.
Lots and lots
you just
of butter.
We got to show some pictures here of, I should have marked them. I should have marked it. So sorry. But there's Mercy falling off the back of the truck.
And there's just nothing cuter than Mercy and
Mercy
Mrs. Watson together.
Oh my goodness. And just look at that little family. Just, I'm just glad they had an origin story for Mercy Watson.
And
so,
I love
so
Baby
cute.
Lincoln, who loves Mercy
Mercy.
so much.
And her sister is just so,
Eugenia is kind of a stick in the mud.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, she's not so nice.
Not so nice.
But lovable character that you love to not like.
Yes, right.
My next book is The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise by Dan Gemeinhart. It's a middle grade novel. This book was so great. I love what it says on the back. There are big days and there are small days. And there were bad days and there were good days. And I suppose I could pick any one of them for my once upon a time. But if I'm going to be truthful, and truthful is something I always aim to be, then really there is only one best place to start this story, and this is how the story begins. I just love that. Coyote and her dad, Rodeo, have been traveling in a school bus that was converted into a travel trailer for the last 5 years since the loss of Coyote's mother and her 2 sisters in an automobile accident. They changed their names and have been traveling since that tragic time. Coyote 12 learns from her grandmother that the park that she and her mother and siblings buried a memory box in is about to be demolished. Coyote comes up with a plan to get them from Florida to Washington State before the park is plowed up and the memory box is lost. She and her dad make many friends along the way. Their passengers include Lester, who is trying to meet up with his lady love. Salvador and his mom are trying to start over, and Val needs a safe place that she can be herself. And then there's Gladys. This book will make you laugh and it'll make you cry. It's a hard-fought journey, and it's hard to go home. But Coyote is determined to turn her once upon a time into a happily ever after. I love this story so much. Coyote was so real and lovable to me that I could almost hear her in my head as I traveled along with her. This is a big mascara alert. You will cry more than one time, but along with all the joys and sorrows, it's a wonderful journey, and it is truly a remarkable journey.
Thank you for the mascara alerts. I like to put mascara alerts in mine too, just to prepare people.
You just have to do it.
You do. All right, my next one is Graystone Secrets, The Strangers by Margaret Peterson Haddix. This is book 1. It is a middle grade science fiction and mystery story. In this book, a kidnapping has taken place, but it's no ordinary kidnapping. The kids that were kidnapped share the same names and birthdays as our main characters, Chess, Emma, and Finn. What are the actual chances of that happening? Their mom has to suddenly go out of town and leaves them with someone they hardly know. They stumble upon a coded letter that their mother had left behind, and now they think their mother is in danger. It is told from alternating point of views, and Haddix creates a suspenseful mystery with coded messages, secret passages, and an alternate world. I am not a science fiction fan, not really, but this, wow. And there is definitely a book 2 because it's a huge cliffhanger at the end. I just don't want to give away too much. It is, well, she's a fantastic author.
I know. You can't go wrong with her books at all.
You can't.
I've always enjoyed her.
This one is great. Loved it. But that alternate world kind of blows your mind a little bit, but just kind of a little confusing. Like if you think about it, they talk about the whole physics of it all and all that. But it is such a good book.
And is it like, I guess it's sort of like a parallel world since the kids are the same as the main characters.
Yes, and like it's like they talk about it in the book where every decision splinters off into something else, into another world.
Oh, wow.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, yeah, it's really, really interesting. I really liked it.
I
really liked it. It was really, really good.
For sure. My next book is a picture book, and it's Tiny TRex and the Impossible Hug. He is the most precious little character. Tiny TRex sees that his friend Pointy, a Stegosaurus, is feeling sad. He says, "Hey, hello, Pointy, are you okay?" Tiny wants to hug his friend, but his short arms are literally holding him back. How can he hug his friend to make him feel better? He goes to his dad, and his dad suggests that he does math because Rexes usually aren't huggers. His Aunt Junip suggests yoga and cucumber juice because if you have good balance, surely you can hug. His mother tells him that he has such a big heart and that he is so good at so many other things. And his siblings tell him to practice. So Tiny begins to practice on many things. And he decides to never practice on a cactus again. See, he has cactus spines all in him. When he hugs what he thinks is a tree trunk, he finds it is really a pterodactyl that takes off, and Tiny falls from the sky and lands right on Pointy's head. So he gets a little hug in there. The illustrations are blocky and simple and monochromatic. And look how adorable Tiny TRex is. So when he falls from the sky and hugs Pointy, everything is better. Precious book, so sweet. I actually read it to the kids that I tested today, and they thought it was such a great story, and they fell in love with little Tiny TRex. He is so little. And he really is working so hard to give the perfect hug.
Oh my goodness! Again,
And I love the end pages.
I'm
Look
giggling
at this.
off camera. I'm over here giggling.
How cute is that?
It is adorable. I love his two little pointy teeth that just pop up.
He's
and
just sweet. And his parents and all, they're, you know, here's his mother. He falls into her drawer and he thinks he's lost. And here's his mom telling him what a big heart he has. And, that, you know, such a sweet book. I think it would be a great present for, you know, a little kid's birthday or something.
I love that.
Great to have in your library as well.
All right, here's my next one. This one's called The Hob and the Deerman by Pat Walsh. It is a middle grade fantasy appropriate for students in grades 4 through 7. Brother Walter is a hob and returns to the Crowfield Abbey after a terrible storm has decimated his tree. Now the abbey lies in ruins. There's a sad ghost waiting for her father's return. A Bogart is living in the sewers, and an evil crawling man is living amongst the ruins. A young boy, Ned, is helping his father and some of the other men retrieve pieces of wall with old paintings on them. But the wall paintings and statues are disappearing, and the man that hired Ned's father is none too happy. So what is causing these wall paintings to disappear? What is causing these statues to disappear? Who is the mysterious deer man that appeared one evening that Brother Walter is so drawn to? How can Brother Walter reunite Urchin, who is the sad ghost girl, with her father and set the girl free? And how do they rid the Abbey of the evil, crawly man? Pat Walsh is just a genius at writing mystery with a touch of scary with some fairy fantasy. She is a wonderful and lovely writer. Her words will just keep you wanting to read just one more chapter. This is supposed to be book 1 in a series, but I can't seem to find anything else like book 2 or 3. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. She is such a talented writer, and her books are just haunting and mysterious and scary. And like I said, you just want to keep reading more. She also is the author of one of my favorite series. It's the Crowfield Curse. It's about the Crowfield Abbey, because in this book they return to the Crowfield Abbey. So the first book is the Crowfield Curse, and the second book is the Crowfield Demon. And I've been patiently waiting for book 3 for years. And the last I heard was back in 2017, and it still hasn't come in. No news has come in. And I even tweeted the publisher, because there are lots of people waiting for book 3 because they're fantastic. And I fell in love with this book, and I still can't find like book 2 on this. So I don't know if I'm not looking in the right places, but she is, wow, she is a talent for fantasy with mystery with a little bit of scary in there. She's fantastic.
Sounds
love her.
wonderful.
Yeah, she's great.
Sounds wonderful. This is Sweety by Andrea Zuill. It is a picture book. And I bought this book accidentally. Or should I say I impulsively bought it online.
I've had accidental books are some of the best.
This is one of the best books. Just look at Sweety. She's a naked mole rat who, shall I say, definitely has her own style. I don't know if you can really see, but she has on quite thick glasses that look like goggles. And yes, that is orthodontic headgear that she has on, because unlike other mole rats, her teeth are not close together. They're very spaced out far apart. She is a naked mole rat, but I would like to read the disclaimer that is on the very first page. It says, "Please note that naked mole rats are born without fur, but not without the love of clothes. The illustrator is grateful for this, since she didn't have to draw a bunch of highly embarrassing pictures." And Andrea Zuill is the author and the illustrator, and you can see all of the mole rats dressed in their different garb. And I want to go back to Sweety. She is definitely what her grandmother calls a square peg. She just doesn't seem to fit. She does interpretive dance to present her book report. She loves fungi and studies mushrooms, and her doll, Princess Zorna, friend of the friendless, destroyer of evil, lover of chocolate beet cake with cream cheese frosting, and her favorite color is aubergine. As you can tell, Sweety goes a little over the top in her descriptions. She wants to be just like Deb, who is this little girl right here. Deb always seems to say the right thing, and she has pretty hair. She's a mole rat, so of course she only has one hair, but it is really pretty. Sweety really loves her Aunt Ruth, who understands her and tells her that one day she will find her own people. She trusts Aunt Ruth and continues to be herself. And in the end, she meets Sandy, who understands Sweety and her love of fungi. Of course, here is Sandy. She comes up after Sweety says that the fungi is beautiful. And Sandy sits on the bench with her and tells her, "My name is Sandy. Your shirt is wonderful. I wouldn't mind having a shirt with a mushroom on it. I love mushrooms, and my favorite mushroom is Giamata esculenta. It looks like a brain." So I believe Sweety has found her own people. It's just a sweet story. The illustrations are so hilarious. Sweety is somebody you will fall in love with. This reminded me a lot of Stand Tall, Molly Lou Mellon.
Oh, I love
You
Stand
know,
Tall,
Molly Lou
yes.
Mellon was her own person and did her own thing. This is just another great book that says be yourself and find your people. So a lot of fun. I loved this accidental purchase.
And you know there's probably several students who can put that in their hands and it'll fit them just right. It'll fit them just right. Yeah,
But
she's cute.
Sweety, she's a sweetie.
I just love the way you say naked mole rat.
Naked mole rat.
Naked mole rat. I love it. All right, my next book is The Bridge Home by Padma Venkatraman. I apologize deeply if I butchered the name. It is a middle grade realistic fiction. It is appropriate for students in grades 4 through 6. In this book, Viji runs away with her younger sister Ruku, who is developmentally delayed, and they run away from their abusive father and is forced to live on the streets of India. They meet 2 homeless boys and become their own protective family. And the boys show the 2 sisters how to find glass and metal in the landfills to sell. Viji has to make some hard decisions when Ruku and Muthu become very ill. And they do live under a bridge, and here's that bridge. This book is written as a letter from Viji to Ruku because Ruku always asks for stories from Viji. There are books we really like and suggest them to other people. And then there are books you want other people to read so you can discuss them and to share their beautiful words. This is poetic. This is not just a beautiful story, and yes, it is a beautiful story, but the writing is incredible. She reminds me a lot of Grace Lynn. Mascara alert. This was a book I could not put this down, and it was just, it really brings forth the homeless problem in India, the children who are homeless, who are going through the landfills seeking trash to resell. But a story of love, family, and family isn't always blood.
Great. Sounds like a
Oh my
great
goodness,
book.
and the cover is
Cover's
just
gorgeous.
gorgeous. See it right there, boom, just love it. And then I discovered this book when I went to TLA, which is the Texas Library Association convention. It's a yearly convention. And this book is a graphic novel, which also is about an Indian family. And it's called Pashmina. It is by Nidhi Chanani. If I mispronounce your name, I deeply apologize. It is a graphic novel. I believe it's appropriate for students in grades 5 through 8. In this book, Priyanka's mother came to America from India without Priyanka's father. Priyanka wants to learn more about her Indian heritage, but her mother does not want to discuss any of it. She will not have it. And eventually, Priyanka finds a pashmina in one of her mother's suitcases and is transported to India whenever she puts it on. However, it is the India that one sees like in Bollywood. It's the fantasy, it's what you envision. And Priyanka wants to learn more about the real India. So when Priyanka is finally allowed to go to India to stay with her aunt, Priyanka learns much more about her family history and some choices that were made. This graphic novel is mostly gray, black, and white. But when Priyanka puts on the pashmina, the graphic novel becomes colorful and vibrant, and colors just pop off the page. So just kind of show you here, it's black and gray and white, and then when she puts on the pashmina, it is just colorful. It is beautiful. This is a great addition to a home collection, to a library collection. You know, we want to create collections that are diverse, that teach about other cultures. This is a fantastic ad. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I just happened to read 2 books that had the Indian culture in there. Just both of them were just fantastic.
They both sound really good.
They were really, really good. You're more than welcome to take them home if you would like to read them.
I just might.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to.
You know, I always feel so rich after we do this because we're sharing books with each other, and then there's more books to add to our piles of to-be-read books, which I have lots of those around the house.
Yes.
So it's great.
Well, I have 8 more books already read just sitting there, and I had to like be real strategic. I was like, okay, I'll pick these, and these 2 go together.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, but I have a really exciting one next month. It's a graphic novel that deals with social anxiety, like
how neat.
for young kids, for kids who have anxiety problems, and this is a great book to put in their hands. So I'm excited to share that one.
And then I have a retelling of Baba Yaga, the house with chicken legs by
Oh,
Sophie
okay,
Anderson.
okay.
It's a very good book.
Yeah, we're going to be filming throughout the summer. We're not stopping because we're going to be doing all sorts of great summer reading.
Right.
So, but anyways,
We'll see you next time.
we'll see you next time. Thank you.